Okay, so now let's look at splitting our project into multiple steps. Right now, we have one step that loads the data, processes the data, and then trains the model. What if we want to have two different steps, one for pre-processing and one for training? This way, we don't have to do the pre-processing on the same data set every single time we want to train a model. It will also allow us in the next video to chain multiple executions together, so we can say, hey, kickstart this pipeline. It's going to run this pre-processing step. Once that's completed, use the outputs of that step, the pre-processed data, as an input to the training model step and run through that as well. But let's first look at separating this up. So currently in our Valahai YAML, we only have one step, and that step is to train the model. This runs Python train.py, and Python train.py contains everything from getting the file path of the input file, the raw MNIST data, loading it up with NumPy load, and then doing some super complex transformation operations on it. Again, it's a very simple example, but it doesn't really matter. From a Valahai aspect, you would still go through the same steps. So what are these steps? Good. Let's look at our Valahai YAML. I'm going to start by adding a new step over here called pre-processed data. We're going to use the Python Docker image on it. And then you see we have two commands over there. The first command runs pip install NumPy, and the second one runs the actual pre-processing script that we have. In Valahai, you can line up multiple commands, one under another, and it's going to execute them in that order. So we can install NumPy, which is not really part of the Python Docker image, but we can install it like this as part of the execution run. Then we have our inputs, which is over here. We have our my raw MNIST dataset pointing to the uploaded file that we have. If we now go look at our preprocess.py, and let's make this my raw. What we have over here is we have our input directory and the path to it. So we're using the my raw MNIST dataset with the MNIST MPZ file. So that should be this file over here. Then we load it up and do our complex operations. Once that is done, we found the outputs directory and we output a pre-processed MNIST MPZ into the output path. That's it, and it's done. So let's run our step. We do vh execution run. What's our run name? It's pre-processed data, pre-process, and we run this as ad hoc. So it's now going to take our files, upload them to Valahai, and run that first step. Let's go look at our executions. We have one execution that's been started. That execution is taking an input, my raw MNIST dataset, and then it has the log over here where it's saying that, hey, started a job, fetched the input, we downloaded it, got the image, started a container, we're installing NumPy. That was the first command that we set to run as a part of our step, and then ran our code and finished by uploading the pre-processed MNIST MPZ into our DD Valahai sample bucket. You see the stages of it being processed. So what we can do is look at our outputs. We see our pre-processed data. Let's actually take the datum link of this one, and we will use it as a part of our train MNIST model over here. So this is my processed data. Let's go then look at our train. And what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is my processed MNIST dataset, and then find that file name over there. Then we're loading it up. We're not doing the complex changes that we had before. We're just loading it up the file and going from there. So now we can go and run vh exec run train ad hoc. And what's it going to do? It's going to run the training script, the training step actually, and the training step will fetch the data, the pre-processed data that was generated previously. Now I had to manually go and run the pre-processing step. After that, run the execution, the training step. At Can be tedious. In this stage, it's still pretty easy to manage. But as these steps increase, you might need to want to automate them. So in the next video, we're going to look at how to create ValueHive pipelines. ValueHive pipelines allow you to automate these steps so you don't have to manually click start on each of these executions. Next.